Hey everyone, it's Sam with Wrestling Overtime, and I'm here to bring you your Raves and Rants review of WWE Raw on May 11th, 2020. Raw opened up last night recapping Money in the Bank ladder matches, which were won by Asuka and Otis. Now, we'll be discussing how I feel about Otis's win at length, I'm sure, on future episodes in this podcast for months. But after showing that recap, they immediately went to Becky Lynch and stated that Becky Lynch wanted to make an announcement. We hear Becky Lynch's music hit, and she comes out. She states that she is going to take some time off because she's pregnant. And right after this, you're going to get another episode talking about what I think she's going to do. Will she come back, or is she going to stay out of wrestling, or is it going to be something in between? So I'm not really going to go into it in detail on this episode. But because Becky is leaving, that makes Asuka the new champion, and she is extremely excited. I loved her dancing around and getting up on the announcer's table and doing her hands, yelling, jumping. I felt like that was pure emotion of her actually getting the championship. And then when Becky made her announcement that she was pregnant, I definitely loved Asuka's reaction. I felt like that was genuine. Her covering her mouth and then looking at Becky and saying, "You are pregnant." And Becky nodding her head. And Asuka did a little celebration dance then with her feet and immediately went to Becky and hugged her. I think we saw the real Asuka tonight with that. Her pure joy and excitement of not only winning the championship, but also of hearing Becky's news. And I think that just should prove to all of us that Asuka should be the WWE Women's Champion right now for what we're going through with the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we get Bobby Lashley versus Humberto Carrillo, no disqualifications. Why? Why are we having this match? This is awful. Are they seriously trying to make Bobby Lashley into a monster now? After 1 billion years? Where is his mouthpiece? Where is Lana? I don't think I have ever seen a wrestler not talk this much and not have a manager. Bobby Lashley, of course, wins this match after beating up on Humberto, but it was horrible to suffer through. Then we get the Street Profits promo. The one thing that I can say about this is WWE serious with this. We are going to have a basketball game between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. So let me get this straight. Since the NBA right now is not allowed to play games because of COVID-19, and most states aren't allowing kids to play or go to their local school's gym, high school teams are not practicing. But the WWE is going to play basketball now? That's just wrong. I mean, it's almost like they're rubbing it in people's faces. We're an essential business, and you can't even play basketball. It's stupid. And then, as for the Viking Raiders promo that they showed right after, that's total craziness. You mean to tell me that you can drive a minivan and sing to the radio and all of that, but you don't know anything about basketball? WWE is just telling us how stupid we are. That they honestly think that we're going to believe this. That the Viking Raiders don't know anything about basketball. Charlie then interviews Asuka backstage. This was not a fun segment. As much as I loved Asuka when she found out she was champion, in this segment, Asuka is speaking Japanese, and then Kairi Sane runs up to celebrate with Asuka, and I don't understand why. She doesn't really say anything, and I'm sure that Kairi ran up to her just so that she can ask Asuka if she could wear her title belt around her neck like she did the tag team championships. But that's all there was to this segment. Nothing else. Then we see a highlighted, shortened replay of Edge versus Randy Orton. And then they, right after that, cut to Zelina Vega and her stable arguing with each other. Now, after commercial, we ended up getting Angel Garza with Zelina Vega, Austin Theory, and Andrade versus Akira Tozawa. Well, WWE made the decision to start this match while we were in commercial. I don't understand how Raw is 3 hours long and they don't have enough time to wait on us to start the match. Now, during this match, Garza stared at Austin Theory on and off the whole match, and he appeared to be trash-talking at him. Garza ended up hitting the wing clapper for the win, and then we see Austin immediately get up in the ring into Garza's face, and Vega and Andrade have to come in the ring and try to break them up. And this kind of just leaves me intrigued, and I want to know what's going on. Of course, the rumors are that Austin Theory is going to go back down to NXT, and that Andrade and Angel Garza don't want him in this group, and that they push for Vega to get him out of the group. He's not Latino, and they feel that he's young and that he was just a replacement for a short period of time, but he's really not part of their group. It actually looks like maybe those rumors are going to end up being true. They're starting this storyline where, Austin Theory is probably going to have to go back to NXT, even though he is probably the most talented of them all. While they're arguing, Drew McIntyre comes down. We see Garza shove Austin at Drew. So Drew does what Drew does, and he Claymored him. Andrade and Garza end up laughing, and so Drew decides to Claymore Garza. Then Andrade argues with him, and Drew turns around and yells for a referee. So we're getting a really good match as far as on paper with Drew McIntyre versus Andrade with Vega. Because as the match starts, I look around and it looks like Austin Theory and Angel Garza have left. I didn't see them leave, but it looks like they've left. And again, this match was started while we were at commercial. So I don't get what's happening with Raw. Are they wanting to do so many interviews and promos that they're not really going to allow us to watch the matches? And I know Andrade is dating Charlotte Flair, but I don't get how he still has the United States Championship title. And he's getting decent matches. He's doing nothing for this title. For months and months and months, they had Latino Night basically on Raw, where it was Andrade wrestling, Rey Mysterio wrestling, Humberto Carrillo, and Angel Garza for the belt in different combinations. He's not really growing anything for this particular title, and so I don't understand why he still has it. I really feel like with them stripping Jordan Devlin of the NXT Cruiserweight title and Sami Zayn of the Intercontinental title, why didn't they strip Andrade when he had his 30-day suspension for a violation of the wellness policy? Is it because he's dating Charlotte? Can it be that simple? Can it be that stupid? But anyway, of course, Drew ended up getting the win in this match that could have been so good, but just really wasn't. Then we see MVP backstage with Bobby Lashley. MVP says he can't believe that Lashley is wasting his time with Humberto when idiots like Otis are getting title shots. Well, I kind of agree with that. I mean, just look at Lashley. He looks like the kind of wrestler Vince McMahon would want to build his company on. However, he is just awful. And there's no way Vince McMahon can do that. And he can't talk. He has to have someone talk for him. But then you look at Otis, and he's definitely not what I would want to build my company on. But he can talk. And he's been put in a really good storyline. And all of the fans love him. But I can't help but believe that Lashley's not better than Otis as far as a ticket selling point on paper. But in reality, it's just not coming true. MVP ends up saying to Lashley that he must have bad management. And we see Lana getting pissed. Well, I don't blame her. She's getting no television time now. And it seems like they're kind of trying to write her out of this storyline to put MVP in as Bobby Lashley's manager. Why? What does MVP have on the WWE that they're making him such a prominent player on their show? I just don't get it. Moment of Bliss with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross and their guests, the Iconics. We get Peyton Royce and Billie Kay back. Now, I know a lot of people out there don't like them, but they have a gimmick, and the gimmick works. And I have to admit, sometimes they are pretty funny. But, I don't know, I guess I have just missed them. I love that they come out and they say they can't believe that their return is being upstaged by Becky's baby. That's hilarious. I mean, just the fact that their characters say that, I guess. It's funny. But they come out telling Alexa and Nikki they want a title shot. Now, Nikki Cross seemed to be all about it, and she immediately takes the chair she's sitting in and tosses it across the ring ropes. So we get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics. Now, during this match, it was a little back and forth, and the Iconics did look better than what they did before they left. Especially with their selling of Alexa Bliss's offense. The Iconics' facials were a lot better. Their movements were a lot crisper. It almost looks like they had been taking this time during the pandemic and were able to practice while they were in Australia. And, of course, the Iconics use a cheap shot and they win. But it's a non-title match, so they didn't win the championship, but I look for them to be challenging for it soon. Then we get a Rey Mysterio interview. Everybody on the internet after Money in the Bank was questioning whether WWE killed off Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black because Baron Corbin threw them off the roof. Well, Rey explains that really he only fell about 6 feet, that Baron Corbin threw him over the roof, but there was another landing 6 feet down. Seth Rollins walks up during Rey's interview and looks awful. So, is this because of his loss last night to Drew McIntyre, or is it because he's gonna be a dad? Rey Mysterio immediately congratulates him on being a dad, and we see Seth just walk off. And so, now I'm intrigued. What's going on with Seth Rollins? We go to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander and R-Truth versus Shane Thorne and Brendan Vick and MVP. Now, I'm still confused about MVP's role. Is he a manager, or is he a wrestler, or is he just a cheap person for Vince to use? What is MVP? I'm not understanding this storyline. They're not filling me in on what's going on. And I'm sorry, I usually find R-Truth really funny. or at least bearable. But during this match, R-Truth got on my nerves. I felt like his gimmick of the split personality with the teeth and his eyes being crossed and everything was just completely stupid. I didn't find that funny. I got to the point where I just wanted them to lose to Thorne and Vic, because at least Thorne and Vic were being serious. But anyway, R-Truth, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander end up winning the match. But immediately after, Bobby Lashley runs down to the ring and hits R-Truth with a spear. Then he puts R-Truth in a full Nelson, and MVP kicks him in the head. And then MVP and Bobby Lashley leave together? What's up with that? Is he more interested now in Bobby Lashley than Brendan Vick and Shane Thorne? Or did we just not see Vick and Thorne run up the ramp to join them? I'm so confused about MVP, can you tell? Then we see Jinder Mahal's interview. I'm going to be really honest with you. I hate Jinder Mahal. He drove me crazy. I can't stand his gimmick. I don't really even like him as a wrestler. It's very obvious that he used something to get bigger when you compare his pictures from earlier to, you know, what he looked like during his championship reign and what he looks like now. But anyway, back to the interview. Charlie welcomed him back. Jinder said that it had been a long 10 months and that he made mistakes last time around. And I agree. The big mistake that was made was WWE making him a champion instead of keeping him as a jobber. Well, then we see Shayna Baszler's promo. And I can't help but think this is what I've been waiting for. Because Shayna doesn't care what she says. She didn't care what she said in NXT, and they basically let her be herself in her promos. So Charlie asked Shayna for a reaction to Becky's news. Shayna says she's stupid to get pregnant as the champion. In fact, 10 out of 10 women will try and tell you that getting pregnant doesn't ruin their careers. But can you imagine the man laid up with bare feet and fat caring for a dumb parasite? Then she says, just look at who the father is. Well, talk about some realism there from Shayna and upping her heel personality. I mean, here is the moment of the night, Becky announcing that she's pregnant, and Shayna is calling her stupid. And basically making fun of Seth Rollins being the father and talking about how that wouldn't have been Shayna's pick to be the father of her baby. I mean, I can't help but like Shayna Baszler. I really can't. I think that she is playing her heel character to the hilt. Then we get Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins and Murphy. I guess because both of them got thrown off the roof At Money in the Bank, Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio are good tag team partners now? I guess that's what WWE thought. I'm not real sure. Of course, Buddy Murphy starts the match. Seth Rollins appears to be almost catatonic over in their corner. And Seth doesn't respond to any tag attempts that are being made from Buddy Murphy. The whole entire match, he doesn't even seem like he's watching. Well, towards the end of the match, Rey punched Seth, and Seth ended up falling off the apron into the floor. And as Rey went for the 619, Rollins grabbed him and threw him on the floor. The referee calls for a disqualification, so Mysterio and Black end up winning. But why? Why was there a disqualification? I totally didn't get that. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand what the referee was thinking. Seth Rollins was part of this match. He caught Rey Mysterio and tossed him. How is that a disqualification? It just doesn't make any sense. But we see Seth snap. And he attacks Rey, poking him in the eye, and yells at Buddy Murphy to stay back. He grabbed Rey's head and slowly shoved his eye into the corner of the steps. And the medics, of course, come out to check on Rey. Now, after commercial, we come back and Rey has his mask off and is in the trainer's room. Aleister Black is also in the room kind of watching the trainer checking him out. Seth and Buddy Murphy come into the trainer's room, and Seth immediately starts trying to apologize by saying he didn't know what happened to him. Rey ends up getting up and walking off as Seth followed, and we get Aleister Black attacking Buddy Murphy. So, I am excited about this. Number one, Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy is how Murphy became Seth Rollins' disciple in the first place. We had 3 matches of Black versus Murphy, and they were really good. And number 2, are we now going to get Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio? Because if we are, then sign me up, because these are going to be great matches too. Seth Rollins right now is doing some of his best work with his Messiah character, and then now this guy that is kind of doesn't know who he is. He has lost. He thought it was his role to be the Messiah, and now he's just not sure where his life's going. Then we get the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders in their basketball game. Well, to make a long story short, the Street Profits trash talk the whole entire time as they beat up on the Viking Raiders. The final score of the game ended up being 74-2. Then we see Shayna warming up, and Natty walks up to her and tells her how disrespectful she was to bash the miracle of motherhood. Well, like I said, Shayna is always real. Shayna tells her just like it is. And so she looks at Natty and says, well, what do you know about motherhood? You'll never have kids, and the Hart Dynasty is going to die with you. Natty just looked floored. And again, I find Shayna's realism in this show of stupidity to be exciting and be something that I really want to tune in for. Then we go back to the basketball court, and the Viking Raiders say they actually let the Street Profits win. The Street Profits say, no way. So Ivar shows them by making all of these wild and crazy half-court shots. And the Viking Raiders say, anything you can do, we can do better. So this ended up to be total insanity. The Viking Raiders know how to drive. They know how to sing. They know how to use, modern era things. And they now know about a basketball game. And they show that they're great at it. But they choose to lose to the Street Profits in order to play mind games? Is that what WWE is trying to sell us? Because if so, I'm not buying. It's just crazy. Shayna Baszler versus Natty is next. And I love them talking back and forth to each other as the match went on. Natty at one point says to Shayna, is that all you got? And I loved how both of them showed off that they are technical wrestlers. They don't have to do any high-flying moves to keep your attention. Just their wrestling, their talking, their movements can tell a story in the ring. Now, after a lot of back and forth, Shayna eventually takes over, and she hit a knee to the face for the win. But I thought that was actually, a pretty good match. We get Baron Corbin's interview. Charlie asks him about throwing Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black off the roof at Money in the Bank. And Corbin just laughs. He says that they landed on another roof just 6 feet below, and they are perfectly fine. He was just making sure they couldn't win and that they would be delayed in having to climb back over in order to get to the ladder. And then, out of the blue, he says next week he is going to prove to Drew McIntyre why he's the king in a cross-brand match. Now, what is WWE doing now? Are we bringing the wild card back? I know that they're calling it the cross-brand matches. But it's another word for wild card, right? So, what's up with that? Are Fox and NBC Universal just throwing fits at each other again? Does the USA Network want what Fox has and Fox wants what USA Network has? Because neither one of them's ratings are that good. So I'm not real sure why you want wrestlers from either promotion at this time. And then we end it with Edge and Randy Orton's confrontation. Edge comes out and gets in the ring. He says he hasn't been in the ring in 6 weeks. he was at home, he was watching WWE Raw, and he saw a promo by them saying that he was hunting the Viper. Edge says, no, I'm not hunting the Viper. I got my pound of flesh, and I'm ready to move on. Well, Randy's obviously not, because Randy Orton's music hits, and he comes out. He says to Edge, congratulations on WrestleMania, the better man won. Then he drops the mic and leaves the ring. Of course, Randy, being Randy, can't do it. He turns around and comes back and says the better man won at WrestleMania, but the better wrestler didn't. He thinks that since Edge hasn't laced up his boots in 9 years, that he doesn't have it in him. Passion can't knock off ring rust. Randy also says that if Edge has the guts, then it will be Edge versus Randy Orton in a straight-up wrestling match. Charlie then asked, or says, if this happens, then it might be the greatest wrestling match ever. Really, Charlie? Really? You really think that? Because Edge and Randy are known for their wrestling ability? Seriously? Gee, I thought Edge was known for being part of Edge and Christian and jumping off ladders and tables and chairs versus the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Then he became rated R superstar and got involved with Lita and a lot of other things, but I didn't know that Edge was really known as a wrestler. And of course we all know that Randy Orton is known as a wrestler, right? I mean, he was only 18 years old when he joined the WWE. He became the youngest Intercontinental title holder, and then he became the WWE champion. So he got all that technical wrestling while he was in high school and college? Yeah, I don't think so. Randy Orton has been known as a brawler and as a person who plays mind games and all of that. Are Randy Orton and Edge two of the best wrestlers in WWE right now, or could they be in the, top 20, top 50 in the WWE ever? Yes. When you're looking at their performances, them being professional wrestlers. But their technical wrestling, there's no way this is going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. Charlie, that's just stupid. Now, what do I think of this match? I'm glad we're getting Randy Orton and Edge again. Because I didn't like their WrestleMania 36 match. It was too long. It was too drawn out. It just wasn't put together right. So confining them to a ring, or at least around the ring, I think it will be a better match. And because of the criticism, I think Edge and Randy Orton will put together a better match. So I am looking forward to that. But it being the greatest wrestling match ever, I'm definitely not sure of. Now, as far as this show tonight, it was just another roller coaster. I mean, yes, we had some great moments, And it'll probably go up there as one of the more memorable moments, especially of this year, was Becky's announcement of her being pregnant. But then you have the lows of dealing with MVP and the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders playing basketball. I mean, come on. It's like WWE does know what's good, but they don't try all the time, and therefore we get some really, really bad stuff. And I'm getting tired of it. I mean, honestly, I'm really getting tired of it. And so, again, WWE needs to get their act together. This is not a good 3-hour-long TV show. It's really not. They have maybe a good 1-hour TV show. Maybe. I don't know. You guys need to let me know how you feel. Are you liking Raw? Did you like this episode of Raw? What are you thinking? How would you make it better? Or does it even need to be better? You guys need to write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com or hit me up on our Twitter or Facebook page at Wrestling Overtime and let me know, what are you guys thinking? Are you following along with me? I don't know. I want to thank you guys, though, for listening and taking the time out of your day to hear my thoughts. And please make sure that you subscribe to Wrestling Overtime so that way you get our latest episodes on what is going on in the wide world of wrestling. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon about the Becky Lynch announcement. See ya.